Welcome to Retro Sports Gamer Channel. I'm Tim Kitzrow from NBA Jam and Mutant Football League, NFL Blitz, and a few other games. Boom shakalaka! Kaboom! Let's go!
Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to explore a game that I did not know existed up until last year, and I'm fascinated by the concept of this game. It's called Olympic Hockey 98. Easy to overlook. A lot of times these Olympic games, back when the Olympics would come to town. What's up, Rogue Gamer in the chat? Troy probably does hate the intro. So Olympic games, usually they throw them together. They're not very good. But this one is Olympic Hockey Nagano 98, which, looking at the cover on the bottom right, you might think, yeah, this is just another cash-in on the Olympics. But this is actually Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey with teams represented by the different countries of the Olympics that year in Nagano. I think this is an awesome concept. I've never played the game before. I just picked this one up a few weeks ago at the local game store here in not too far from me in Norridge, called Video Games Then and Now. They have a good selection of N64 games. So let's just head right into a game. I'm only going to play one game, and there'll be maybe some more Showdown Saturdays to come later. So Japan, you have the names, you don't have any pictures. That's interesting. Now, one thing that's interesting about this game is Wayne Gretzky 3D Hockey 98 came out in December 1997. This game came out 2 months later, right before the Olympics. I don't know why they were so close together. It seems like, maybe this was the quick cash-in, but I think this makes it more worth a purchase to have the teams separated by country. But you already see that there's some teams that aren't represented with pictures, which is disappointing. And there you got Gretzky on Canada. So I'm going to be my hometown, United States. We got Mike Modano, Brett Hall, and Leclerc. We change the goalie. So it'll be U.S. And there you go. You hit the joystick to move over. So they got Joel Otto, Garen McCheeran, Ronik, Deadmarsh, Waite. So, they got more guys. Amante, LaFontaine, Chuck. So, hockey's not my strong point. I think you know this already. So, some of the guys, I might be saying their names, mispronouncing them. But really, this is the game that gave me a little bit of knowledge about hockey. Not this game in particular, but Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey, because it just highlighted the best players on each team. So I'm going to go with Modano and play a game here. Let's see if there's any differences from the Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey series. So far, it's pretty much spot on. Oh, and I skipped it, but they actually play, it sounds like the anthem of the country, which is pretty cool. Oh, no.
And here's the face-off.
I'm going to quit real quick. They must have the rules on, which that was a big push starting around this time to make the games more regulation or simulation. So Midway even started doing it back then. I think that's ultimately what hurt their sports franchises when they they started to make them more simulation-like. So this game by default starts as a simulation game because I didn't make any edits to the options before this.
Tonight's matchup, USA versus France.
So we're playing France this time. It looks like the US is at home for this game. All right, let's go.
Here's the opening face-off.
Yeah, why do you think it is that Midway came out with this game 2 months later?
From behind.
So I got to get used to the fact that A is the pass button in the basketball games that I play. A's the shoot button in this. There we go.
Oh, what a shot.
I usually use A as a pass button in the basketball games. That's what I was trying to say.
He shoots. Oh, what goaltending. It's a blast.
I'm trying to... What is this music playing in the background?
Bombs away. Oh, a beautiful save. Looking to score. He deflects it.
I'm not sure if I like the names in yellow. It's a little bit distracting, but I guess it's better since there's so many different players in this game to know who you're actually using because their numbers are all different.
He shoots. Another steal.
And I could, whenever I play this game, it usually takes me a game or two to get the controls back down.
What a setup.
I'm surprised more people don't talk about
There's the steal.
this
Oh,
game.
what a mugging.
Because if they came out with an NBA Jam TE Olympic Edition, I mean, that would be amazing.
Here's the draw.
It would have been amazing
Bombs away.
to have different countries represented with their 3 best players.
Incredible.
Here we got 1-1.
And here's the face-off. The shot. Lockdown.
We were having a discussion on the Retro Sports Gamer Discord today about top sports games on the N64 for each major sport in the U.S. And there were some different results, but the conclusion was that, oh, at the buzzer. I like that you could do that in this game. And set the net on fire. The conclusion was that Midway killed it on N64. If it wasn't for their sports presence on the system, then it probably would have been really poor for sports. I mean, there's a few solid games on there, but in general, simulation games on the N64 aren't great ones to go back to. It's actually a nice day out here in Chicago, so been itching to play this one to see what it's all about. And yeah, it plays pretty much just like Wayne Gretzky 3 hockey. I don't notice any difference in the way it plays, which is a good thing. And you see the puck streak in this game. That was big in the 90s. Fox started doing their telecasts with the puck streak, which honestly made hockey a lot easier to follow when they put that streak on. If I were to guess, the reason they took it away is because it does make it easier to follow, so maybe people wouldn't want to go to the arena to watch and pay for the tickets. Nagano sneaking it in. But yeah, one of the other reasons I wanted to play this is just to let people who watch this channel that this game is out there. There was under 300 games on the Nintendo 64. A lot of classics, but it's also surprising how much variety there is in that less than 300 games.
Looking to score. The shot is blocked.
There's a lot of sports games that I totally missed. And baseball is one on the N64. I never really got into any of the baseball games on that.
My goodness, Mary Manor up to it again. Power shot.
I think in general during the time, the PlayStation is still the dominant sports system for me, and N64 supplemental with his first party titles like Mario Kart 64 and Mario 64, Zelda, that sort of stuff, but then also played the arcade sports games on there. And here you got France coming back.
And here's the face-off.
Oh, that's the other thing you could do. Get the fire shot right up the middle sometimes. You blast the goalie into the net for a goal.
Here's the draw.
Okay, I'm getting back down. First period was a little ugly.
And here's the face-off. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. He goes down.
So for you hockey fans out there, what did you think of this game during the time? Did you even know it came out? You know, things were, it was a little harder to figure out. Things were coming out back when this came out in 1998. Internet still a newer concept. Some people's connections are super slow, so still rely heavily upon just going to the store and magazines.
It's a blast. Great block. Rebound. Lockdown. That was a takedown. Rejected.
But yeah, if they could have, and the other thing is, I don't know what the coverage was like for the Olympics at this time. Was it all NBC, or did they have their cable channels that would cover the hockey games? I don't really know.
The shot shut down.
Goalie's locking up.
Gets done.
But yeah, I recommend playing this game in arcade mode. What's up, Adam? You want to see a fight? Yeah, the fight hasn't triggered yet.
Sensational.
I wonder what it was like to get the Olympic license. Maybe they took the fights out.
He turns it over. A textbook play. He loses the puck. He shoots. No good. Rebound. From behind.
Boom.
It's a blast. He deflects it.
Yeah, this game
Oh, he was clever.
screams arcade 90s hockey.
What was he thinking? Power shot. The shot is blocked.
The goalie's stopping everything. I'm getting some good looks. Goalie checks me at the net. Probably that one will go in. Since this is a Midway arcade game, you know that sometimes the computer can get a little bit cheap for goals, but I got a 3-goal lead. It's not out of the realm of possibility in this game that they could still score 3 goals actually in 17 seconds.
And another save. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5. The shot. Great block. 3,
That's
2,
it.
1.
US takes it.
That's the end of the game.
Mortal Kombat arcade machine is fun.
USA 7.
Yeah, Mortal Kombat, there are a few versions on the Nintendo 64. I don't have them. There's a trilogy, which is probably the best one. And then there's Mortal Kombat 4. And then there's like a Sub-Zero platformer type game, which people don't look upon too highly. But yeah, Nagano, 1998. This is something new that they show the team stats at the end of the game. And also the log of what happened, assists, goals. That's pretty cool. And then it still shows you the individual stat for your player. Mortal Kombat Trilogy. And that's it. It's Olympic Hockey Nagano 98. So it's not doing anything flashy, but one thing it is doing is putting the Olympic brand with the different countries on top of a good arcade sports game, which I think is very unique. I don't know who else has done that. I know there's like a Team USA basketball game on Genesis that was basically the same as their NBA series, like the Bulls vs. Blazers, Bulls vs. Lakers series that EA made. So they did do that. So I guess it did exist, but not as... That one wasn't an arcade game. It was simulation. So Olympic Hockey Nagano 98. This is a game on N64. If you're into hockey, if you want to play the teams by country, this is probably a fun one to check out. I bought it for like $9. I'm a huge fan of Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey, so that's not too much to spend on this game for me. But you know, don't overlook this game if you see it. The text and the cover are pretty generic compared to how Midway would usually showcase their game. So don't overlook this one. It is Wayne Gretzky 3D hockey with a costume of Olympic hockey for the Nagano in 98. But yeah, that's going to do it for now. This is a Showdown Saturday. I might be back later on tonight to showcase another game. Probably something I haven't played before. Because it's great going into some of these game stores, and I feel like they're tailor-made for the retro. Any retro sports gamer out there is, you go in and they have a ton of sports games that they're looking to sell, and they're cheap. So it's a good time to be a retro sports gamer, and definitely got a backlog of games that I've never played before. But this one is one I would definitely recommend. Adam wants NCAA football later. I do have some NCAA football that I haven't played yet, so maybe I can make that happen, since it was the only request. But anyways, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you later.